Remette knives in the dead of the night. A tanto blade, sleek and tight. Aggressive Peregrine, Falcon in flight. Unique and bold, a warrior's delight. Sharp as a razor, lock steady and strong. Peregrine Falcon, king of the sky, with a crazy ass lock, it's ready to fly. No price, high quality, catch your eye. Fearless and fierce, you'll never say goodbye. Swift and precise, cutting through the air. With Remette knives in the dead of the night.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jim. I want to thank you for joining me as always as we take a look at something radical and new. Now there's something quite a bit different about this knife that you haven't seen on other knives. Have you figured out what it is yet? Yep, it's the pivot. That pivot is not just a pivot, but that is where you're going to unlock the knife from. Now here's something cool about this. If you don't, for some reason, remember the new lock location that you have on your new knife, you can still unlock it like a standard liner lock. So if you're thinking, I love this knife, I love the proportions, I love the feel, I love the edge, I love using it, and it carries great, but I kind of feel like maybe that pivot lock is a little bit gimmicky, that's okay. Don't let that limit you because you can close it like all of your other liner locks. I really dig this. This is the brand new Peregrine Falcon from Remette. They actually call it the RT Peregrine Falcon. I'm just going to call it the Peregrine from now on. And as soon as I saw this, I knew that I had to have it. Now, I love this very sleek, smooth, clean, plain frame that they've got going on here, but in all honesty, a little micro-milled pattern running throughout it might have been a nice touch to add just a little bit more character. However, this accent piece here, we'll call it the pivot island, does add quite a bit, and I love the look. I love the fact that they've chosen to anodize it in a different, wildly different color tone. So you have more or less a brown for the titanium frame, and then for the accent pieces, the pocket clip, and the back spacer, they're all gold anodized. So you've got a really wonderful contrast of colors here. And I'll be honest with you, it's the looks that made me want it. But the new button-activated liner lock and the pivot is the best bonus I could possibly ask for. So I got a knife that looks really cool, and it turns out it feels really good in the hand, and it does a lot of other things really well. But having that unique lock release really just further sold it for me. Now, when I first saw this, my eyes went straight to the blade. I went to this tanto shape, I love that. I saw the shape of the blade window, and then I saw this milled pocket here that really gave a very futuristic kind of sci-fi look to the overall knife. And I fell in love. And I went, yep, I got to have this. Now, a lot of you may feel the same way. You're going to look at it and go,
Oh man, that thing is cool as hell. But it's $245. Is it worth $245? I've never owned a Remette before. Whatever shall I do? I'm having such a terrible dilemma here.
well, I'm going to tell you. I've had experience with Remette from their least expensive knives to their most expensive knives. And I tell you right now, as they level up in their prices, they level way up in the workmanship, the materials, and the finish work. So if you want a great $100 knife, Remette's got something for you. If you want to get into a more premium price knife, they've got something for you. And they're worth every penny of it. It's not often that you can look at a wide assortment of models in a knife company's line and see wildly different prices and be able to justify each of those pricing levels. A lot of times you go, man, they are reaching way too far. They can't possibly be that good to justify being 3 times the price of this other knife that they make. And I'm here to tell you, you couldn't be more wrong. Let's make a quick adjustment to my studio lights here. For some reason, I had my boom light off to the side. Not really sure what was going on there. So let's talk about specs real quick, because there are going to be a lot of people that would rather know the exact specs on this before continuing on to hear my opinions on it, because if it's too big or too small for what they want, you're not going to care what my opinion is. So, let's go ahead and get to that. Lay this off to the side and get those specs up on the screen. Your overall length is 7.80 inches, so yes, that means it's going to be a compact carry. Blade length is 3.15 inches in M390 with a blade thickness of 140 thou. Now your frame thickness, this is a beefy boy, is 700 thousandths of an inch thick. So it's just about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's got some girth to it. And the weight is 4.8 ounces. So it's not very heavy, even though it's a stout, thick, chunky boy for a small boy. You've got a flat grind, and you've got Remette's unique blade finish, their pearlescent blade finish, which I do have a hard time really showing under my diffused studio lighting. But you do get this interesting sheen that runs across it. And if you go out in the sunlight, there's a little bit of iridescence and pearlescence that will kind of roll across that steel that none of your other knives can do. And that's one of the things that I really dig about them. They are doing something wildly different with their finish work. The entire frame is titanium. All of the accents are titanium. Your milled pocket clip is titanium. And it looks like there might be enough room there for some tritium. Just saying, might be worth a shot. Your backspacer is titanium. Your hardware is all titanium. And the bearings around the pivot, they're all ceramic. So yeah, premium materials. As you can see from the close-ups, premium finishing. Everything is expertly done. Let's take a look on the inside here, shall we? Now, what you've actually got here is an inset lock. So it's not a full liner lock. A full liner lock, you would see this. You would see that whole liner running the entire length of the frame, one on each side. But that's not how this is. You see that it is bolted in, screwed in right there. So it is an inset lock with a true detent. So if you've ever owned a button lock and went, oh, I don't like that wimpy feeling, it just kind of rolls out. It doesn't have a nice crisp break like my liner locks and my frame locks do. This button activated inset lock gives you back the freedom of having the feel of a button lock and also having a true detent so that you've got a nice opening action. Reminiscent of what Vosteed is doing. So that gives you a nice quality detent as well. That's why I'm in love with this system. Because now I've got a cool button lock mechanism that works alongside a much more standard lock. And it feels really good. By the way, you do get multiple methods of deployment, as I just showed you there. If you are a front flip fanatic, then you do have a little bit of a front flipper here. I will say this, the jimping is not very aggressive, so you're going to have to really kind of dig in to hit it and be reliable with it or be consistent with it. I do wish that was a little bit sharper. A note for any company that's making anything that's going to have a corner like this that they want to use as a front flipper, you absolutely need to have sharp jimping here so that it grabs onto your skin so that you can just simply slide right up it and get it to flip open. Now you can also depress the lock and open it that way as well. Oops, come on. So if you like doing that, you'll be able to do that. Oops. Now, I mentioned a couple of times earlier on that this felt really good in the hand. The ergonomics are pretty neutral. You only have a little bit of it where it flares out a little bit towards your fingers. Otherwise, it's pretty much a straight body. But it feels really, really good. And I've got very large hands, and I'm not running out of room at all. And I don't wish for it to have a massively interfering finger choil. But you do have a little bit that you can choke up on there, no problem. But I feel perfectly fine back here on the handle, nice and secure, feels good. Another suggestion that I would make to Remette, if you make a version 2 of these in the future, I'd love to see, besides the sharper jimping, I'd love to see it go up to right about here where the window terminates. Right about there would be good, just to give me a little bit more control, where I don't feel like my thumb is going to slide off of the spine of the blade if I'm doing any hard push cutting. I think that would be a really good idea. Again, I love that milled pocket they did right over here. It also reduces some weight on the blade as well. It looks good, looks very aggressive, and again, very futuristic. And it's going to come out to be quite a bit different than everything else in your collection. And if the looks weren't enough, then you've got this. Now, this isn't the very first time we've seen a lock that interfaces with the pivot, but it's the first time I've seen it done in this way, just like this, and in a production knife. Again, if you're spending Michael Walker level money, you're buying $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 plus customs. There have been some that were done with a lock built into the pivot. This isn't built into the pivot. What the pivot is doing is it's simply moving and it's pushing on the inset lock, which is still genius. I'm not taking anything away from them. That is still really, really cool, and I absolutely love it. To the point where I was really supposed to do this review a few days ago, but this has been in my pocket. I've been honestly carrying and playing with and enjoying it since it came in. I kind of fell in love with it, which is exactly what you want as a manufacturer. You want somebody to feel kind of addicted to your new knife when they get it, and constantly want to carry it, constantly fidget and play with it, constantly use it. That's what you want, especially if that person happens to be someone who reviews knives. I don't often get that addictive feeling. I get that when each month comes around and a new Jack Wolf knife comes out, because I'm still deep in my honeymoon phase of modern slip joints. I very much felt that when the RS Chaos arrived, and it's still one to this day that I carry a lot and absolutely love. I'm kind of blown away by this knife. Now, it's not a complete game changer. I don't want to oversell it or anything like that, but it is just different enough that it stands alone in my collection. That it justifies every time I reach in my display case and grab it and decide that's the knife I'm going to carry today, over and above all the other knives that are in the case right next to it. And that's exactly what the Remette Swordfish did as well. And you guys know I love the Swordfish, and I love, again, the innovation and the ingenuity behind it. I mean, this one's really, really tough to beat. Not that there are a lot of gravity knives out there on the market, but the few that are out there, I just don't like as much as this one. It is unique and it is special, just like the Peregrine. So I have a lot of folders. I have a lot of folders in this size. And a lot of times that's problematic for me. I'll get something in, I'm excited about it for a couple of days, and then when it goes in my display case, it's sitting in there next to a lot of other knives that it would be competing against. And the next time I reach in there to carry something, am I going to grab the new baby that I got, or something that I already have a long-term love affair with that's configured in a similar manner? Both of these knives stand alone. And I love that. And I love the fact that it's not $400 or $500 to get that uniqueness, to get that coolness. It's not a deal breaker, but it does change things a little bit. It makes it much more accessible, not only to me, but to everybody else. Because you might be addicted to knife collecting. You might be able to justify expensive knives. But there are still a lot of people out there that at $245, that is a major, major decision for them. And is it ever going to be worth it to them? Not everybody's as screwed up in the head as we are. So if this were $300, $350, $400, that would make it even more difficult. This is so much more accessible to so many more people at this price. That's why I dig it as a complete package. The knife is awesome. The build quality, the finish work, the construction, the innovation. Everything about it is fantastic. And on top of that, it happens to have what I feel is a very attractive price. So the whole package works for me. And I'm really glad companies like Remette are around, because it gives everybody a chance to be a baller. It gives everybody a chance to have something cool, something unique, something fun in a design that they really, really want to have in their collection. Anyway, that's it for me on this knife. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them down below in the comments section. If you go visit the video description, I might have a surprise for you. Is it a link with a discount code? Perhaps. Honestly, I'm not really being coy. I just honestly forgot if they provided me with one or not. I think they did. I just don't want to make a promise if they didn't. But yeah, I kind of think they did. So go check it out. Anyway, I'm out of here for now. Thank you guys for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.